Hi, everybody. This is episode 2 of A Cup of Joe with Mendo. Today I have Ricardo and Dan from Deportivo Juventud. So I want to thank you guys for joining me in today's episode. In today's topic, we're going to talk a little bit about the impact of coaches and how they've impacted your lives as players. And that goes from actions and words and also how they are as people. So thanks, guys, for joining me again. I would love for you guys to talk a little bit about your project with Deportivo and kind of share with our listeners and what you're trying to do with your team.
Great. I guess I'll start. First of all, Mendo, thank you for having us on here. We're really looking forward to this for a while now. So pretty much what we are, Deportivo Juventud, we're a club that we started just in December. And, I just finished my last year playing college soccer, and Ricardo was also a college player as well. And we really were just looking to play in the off season. And how we started was we thought, we're playing, a lot of people are involved. Why not, start posting content and letting people see what it's like playing in the off season. And also hopefully if we can grow from there when people are out of college, or if they just didn't make a team or didn't want to play in college and wanted to focus on their studies, they can come play for Deportivo. We play at a very high level, but it's also not only a high level. If someone who doesn't think they can play at that level wants to play, we have levels for everybody. And that's the main thing that we go for is anyone who wants to play in the off season can play, because we're very passionate for the game, and we just love the game, and we want to give everyone a chance to show their love and passion for the game as well.
Yeah, I agree with Dan. The thing is, the college season is always so short. It's only 3 months long. So after that, players are stuck for the rest of the year without playing competitive football. So I think it's great that we provide a platform for them. And right now we only have 2 teams, one competing 8v8 and the other one competing 11v11. But hopefully we can grow from there and have 4 or 5 teams. Just college players. Eventually, provide a platform for them to join and stay active competitively throughout the year.
Awesome. Congratulations to you guys. The club has really taken off, and it's great to see. And obviously, Cardo, I've been very fortunate to work with you back in the day, and I'm really glad to see where that's taken. So I guess for my next question for you guys is, the impact of coaches or your experiences as a player. And I think that kind of ties into the passion that you both have. So if you don't mind, I would love to hear a little bit about your experiences and the impact that coaches have had on you.
Absolutely. I guess I'll start. So growing up, having playing soccer for as long as I can remember, I played at low levels, and I've also towards the end of my career, I've played at the highest level there is. So I've really been around the block, I guess you could say. Like, I've played on so many teams, I met so many great people, had so many great coaches through the game, which is why I think that I do love the game so much, because I've seen every end of it, which is why I also have I have a view for everybody. So the kids who never played at the high level, I know how they feel, and the kids who did play at the high level, I know how they feel as well. So I have had coaches who really stick out of my mind. I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want people to get hurt. But pretty much, just not only being coached about the game, I think is super important. Like, of course, you can always learn more tactics and positioning and stuff, but it comes to a point where everyone gets to one certain level, I believe. For example, I've played on teams such as New York State team, Eastern New York, ODP, and you get to that point where there's really no one who's so much better than everyone else. Some people have their strengths, some don't. Some are faster than others, some are more technical, some see the field, So when it comes to that point, I think it's all about growing your players as humans and really just getting them to think and just do the best they can to grow up. Unless you really think you're going to go pro, then, you can always learn more or get fitter and stuff. But it comes to a point where you got to teach the game the right way and just get them in the mindset of learning and being able to do things just like me and Ricardo have done. We've had great coaches who taught us enough so that way we can create our own team, which is super important. And I don't think that a lot of people can do that who haven't been around all parts of the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. With the extensive knowledge that we've gained over the years, from the amount of coaches we've had, we've encountered, Mendolia was my coach a few years ago. He had a lot of knowledge with us. A shout out Jason Orban, 2 of the best coaches I ever had in my career. I learned a lot in a really short amount of time, compared to other club coaches. I didn't really have the same career path that Dan had coming up through the youth system. I was mostly an Allied JSL player for most of my career, considering I started soccer pretty late, around the age of like 12, 13. And, the last few years of high school, I decided to, take the step up, play MPL. That's when I really started, pushing myself. I learned a lot more of the game, hanging out with guys like Dan, just surrounding yourself in an environment of people, that are extensively knowledgeable in football. It's definitely helped a lot. And like Dan said, we wouldn't be able to run Deportivo if it wasn't for all these relationships we've built throughout the years with coaches and other players that are as knowledgeable as, the coaches that we've worked with.
Right. And I think that too, that brings a good point. I think being around the game in different aspects really helps shape you, as a player, person, future coach as well. And I would just say, what would be a couple things that you would take away most from your coaches, from maybe a person perspective, an action perspective, or even just a verbal aspect?
I mean, I would personally take away the most of not really bashing your players, I guess, so extensively. I've had coaches, and Dan has as well, actually, from our time at a specific club. I won't name any names, but, so we've had some crazy coaches throughout the years, that any single thing you do, they bash you and, like, you just get smushed to the ground,
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I would take a different approach to that. They're children, they're trying to learn, they're trying to do their best. I mean, it did help me overall, but it also scared the crap out of me, like, while playing. And,
now you're talking about poor.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Okay.
So, I've always been a very nervous player, like, growing up, I guess, because probably due to the fact that I started late, I've always been, like, I've known to be anxious on the field. So, having coaches that, like, reassure you, kind of, like, take you through the steps, step by step, nice and, like, smoothly, that I think that's always been good. And I see other players that, me and Danny have coached, and, I feel for them. So, I try to coach them in a similar way that I've been coached in a nice way.
Okay. How about you?
Yeah, and I think Ricardo put it well. Every level you get a different type of coach. So, for example, my coach in college, he did a really great job of, letting us know that soccer, there's going to come a point where we can't play anymore. And you got to really just use the game of soccer to get better in life as an individual. So whether it's a job interview or whatever you're going for, use soccer, use the competitiveness that comes through soccer in the work field, because it's going to be just as competitive as playing in a league. Everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to make the most money. Everyone wants to do the best on the field. So I think in a life perspective and just as an individual perspective, you can always compare the game of soccer into anything, which is why I really love the sport so much. You can compare touches to how you write an essay. You can really compare it in any aspect. So I think, and every coach I've had, honestly, even to the really bad ones, to the really good ones, I learned something from them. So I really think that for players out there who are listening to this, you should always, even if you think you know more than the coach, and trust me, I've been there before, where I'm just like, what is this guy talking about? High school, you're just like, what is this guy talking about? But you really can learn, like, little things out of them, even what not to do as a coach, and into a player. You can always learn. So that's why I think you should always just keep an ear open to listening to whoever talks to you about the game.
Right, absolutely. I think that brings up, both of you brought a great point. I think in our experience as players and now for me, obviously a coach, is you, throughout your career, you take the goods and the bads and you kind of formulate what you can into maybe real life experiences to your goals. And for this was great because you guys were able to take your experiences and, grow your passion for the game and build Deportivo, and that's going in the right direction. So, that's awesome stuff. So I really appreciate, your time, guys. Love the sweatshirts. So, I think that's great. If anyone is interested in a Deportivo sweatshirt, you can go follow Ricardo and Dan and Deportivo on social media. They have a link to their store, and we look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having us, Mendo.
Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching.